One of the notions of integrity is that there are different concepts or fields, experiences, and how do we integrate them together? Now, or what could integrity look like in presence of or in wake of different things, different people, different situations, different experiences? I think one of the notions is it does not mean homogeneity. It does not mean that things have to fall in a category of sorts. It also does not mean that it has to be complete. So if we have an x-axis and a y-axis, and the x-axis has homogeneous and heterogeneous at different scales, and then let's say on the y-axis we have complete and incomplete information, or the feeling of being of completeness or feeling of incompleteness. So you get four quadrant. You get homogeneous complete, homogeneous incomplete, heterogeneous complete, and heterogeneous incomplete. I feel that it's certainly not the case that one is gunning for integrity in the first quadrant, which is the homogeneous complete. Actually, the way integrity can function in an adaptive manner is when one is able to have that sense of presence, sense of vivek, discretion, or um, steady state of wisdom, discernment, seeing, witnessing, and the ability to work with heterogeneity and incompleteness. So this would mean that there are different experiences, different set of people. You're not able to make sense of many of them, and you're not able to categorize them. Or even if you categorize them, you do that with the perspective of doing that for transactional or interactional reason, but certainly not for the purpose of transformation. Because at the level of transform, it goes beyond form. The whole idea is to go beyond the form is what is transformation, which means that you dissolve the categories, or they appear as a spectrum, and then you're able to see the whole picture. So in a day-to-day experience, it would mean that as I speak with you, how do I have integrity? As I interact with you, how do I have integrity? And then how do I integrate these with my past experiences and future goals? I think that's the navigation. The navigation on another level is past and future, and inside and outside. So we get these four kind of dimension, four quadrants rather: past, future, and in inner and outer. And I think the idea is that one would have these. Uh, so there would be something that would arise naturally. And the word natural here is over a period of time, there is a certain kind of tuning or frequency that one has developed and that resonates with somebody else or in a situation or a thing. But then there are some things which doesn't resonate, and one meets awkwardnesses, one meets dissonance, one meets incoherence, inconsistency, inside or outside. So the ability to navigate these inconsistencies and divergencies or differences or disagreements in a graceful manner, not to give up, not to fight, but to navigate them and have the discernment and the vivek to choose what to do, when to do, is in some sense being in integrity. Mean that one loses collaboration, one loses trust, and in a bad way, in an irreparable way, and it has consequences. It has bad, irreparable consequences in some sense, or hurtful consequences in some sense. Would mean that one is continuing to perform certain action, or there is an action paralysis, or there is a disheartened action or a half-hearted action, but one is not able to reconcile it inwards with one's thinking, feeling, saying, and doing. One has to be very tentative, one has to be very watchful and guarded and function in that particular manner. Of course, if we double click on this, then there are more nuances to it, but we can cover them in some other voice notes. Another way to look at integrity would be from the lens of being disintegrated, looking at the opposite and seeing what it is like, and then entering into the concept from that angle. So what would not being in integrity look like? What would disintegrated look like? What would brokenness look like? Or what would tentative look like? Well, it looks like, or it feels like, that one is unable to function. There is a certain kind of dysfunction that gets generated out of being not in integrity. And that dysfunction spills over in various form inside of the person and outside of the person. Outside, it would spill over in a form of cheating, lying, blaming, gaming, shaming, claiming somebody else's credit, plagiarizing, copying, backstabbing, unnecessary, just gossiping and being extremely negative, being manipulative, being self serving only, or not having the ability to look at from a posture of seeing the other side, understanding the other side, experiencing the other side, being empathic to the other side, and creating division rather than a vision, and then pursuing one's own division as the vision. That would be the outer form disintegrity. Inner would mean completely, like habits are to behavior and biases are to mind. One is just living out of this factory of overproduction of habit and overproduction of biases, and one just continues doing that and then keeps meeting a lot of and in various interactions or transactions that a person has, the person just doesn't go deep. It becomes easier for the person or helpless for the person to not look at it from another angle. Another double click here would be that when one is not in integrity, the whole, as I mean, going back to the point of being in some sort of a dysfunction, is that one is not then moving from a space of transforming self for the other or discovering for self for the other, and that becomes detrimental because one is then wrongly externalizing harm or hurt or cost, or wrongfully internalizing harm or hurt or cause, and this can have its own negative spiral. So yeah, I think these are broad notions, initial notions, and a very rough initial things to think over on integrity. There are more things to it, but we can take it up on other voice notes.